Hello everyone, we are Tony, TT, and Jason, and we are in IGCSE 2, and we are here to present to you our team project that's about poverty. Our aim was to raise awareness for some of the countries that live in poverty. For several factors, poverty has become a serious issue in many countries. Ethiopia, India, and Papua New Guinea are the countries we chose to represent the issue of poverty in our video. We chose these countries because when we were researching in the beginning, we could get access to enough data in order to supply enough information to the viewers to raise awareness of the problems happening in these countries. Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, one of the main causes of poverty are mainly caused by governmental war. The Ethiopian government has frequent wars with countries surrounding Ethiopia, fighting over things such as land and property. When the government has war with other countries, it has a highly negative impact on the land, citizens, and economy of Ethiopia. There was an incident during the summer of 2021 where Ethiopia had a war with a surrounding country. That war resulted in the destruction of the train tracks, which the economy of Ethiopia is highly reliant on. War between Ethiopia and other countries could also increase the number of deaths of citizens, and a lot of land and buildings could be destroyed, which could cost money to rebuild. Money that could have been used to improve healthcare and education would be used to rebuild structures that shouldn't have been destroyed in the first place. Another reason that Ethiopia has a high poverty rate is because Ethiopia has a high dependency on agriculture to make money for the economy. This is a problem in Ethiopia since there are frequent floods and droughts, making it difficult to maintain a steady agricultural industry, since the floods and droughts would come and go and kill the crops. The lack of education also plays a big effect on poverty. For instance, in Ethiopia, 2.6 million primary school students do not go to school, and this may be crucial to the future of Ethiopia, since there will not be highly trained workers who can get highly paid jobs to add tax to Ethiopia's economy, which could result in poverty. Lack of education could also lead to many kids that aren't able to get a job, which could lead to a high crime rate. Because of the poverty, people may have to rob stores since they can't afford food. The effect these causes play on the citizens are that it affects the development and growth of the children. Some households are living in high poverty that they can't afford food, which causes the adults and the children in the household to be extremely malnutritious. Since the household does not have that much money, they have no choice but to have their kids drop out of school to help work for money. Due to some of the households not having any money, people can't afford food, and this is highly crucial to the health of children and adults from Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, 29% of the children that are under 5 years old are malnutritious, which isn't good since they might grow up to be sick adults, and without adults, they can't go to work in the future, which could hurt the future economy of Ethiopia. People also have other effects, such as poor sanitation, which could affect people's health since there are diseases living in people's houses, which could make them sick. Diseases can also be found in water or food, which could attack a person's health, causing them to die. Most people in rural places are poor, so they also can't afford healthcare, which makes people's health deteriorate, which means they might not have a long life. In Ethiopia, the government has to stop causing conflicts, such as war with other countries surrounding Ethiopia, since the other countries are just going to cause more conflict to Ethiopia, causing more damage, which needs money to be fixed. The money could have gone to improving healthcare or education, but it was spent on fixing problems made by war. Ethiopia's agricultural business mainly depends on coffee beans, so if they made more coffee beans and exported them to the rest of the world, and from here we can support Ethiopia by buying their coffee beans. And lastly, we could also donate to organizations that focus on helping fix problems such as lack of clean water, lack of access to food, insufficient health care, and little education. When we donate money to these kinds of organizations, they can help the people in Ethiopia with the money that we've donated.
India. Overpopulation is one of the key factors that causes poverty in India. According to the World Bank, the population of India is 1.38 billion, which is the second most populous country after China. As a result, there are more than 50 million people who live on less than $2 a day. Additionally, a lack of education is another cause of poverty in this country. People who do not have a proper education usually will have difficulties with finding jobs. They might have to do badly paid jobs, which will massively affect their health. Besides of lack of education and overpopulation, lack of economic growth should also be noticeable. People are not investing in projects because they are afraid of not getting the profit they want. Poverty has negatively influenced several aspects of people's lives. People usually do not have enough food to eat, which causes malnutrition to millions of kids. In addition, people don't even have a house to live in. As a consequence, they have to live under the bridges where they could breathe in unhealthy air from vehicles, and India is one of the countries that have the worst healthcare treatment in the world. In some places, people have to become robbers to steal clothes and food to survive because they are out of money. In order to tackle poverty in India, we need investments in areas such as education, food nutrition, and especially healthcare treatment. People need to raise awareness of these problems to the world, so maybe countries and organizations can help each other and support each other when they're in need. So if we're all working together to help, we can all solve the problems of poverty together. Papua New Guinea. There are various reasons why Papua New Guinea is in poverty right now. The main problem that causes Papua New Guinea to be in poverty right now is that they don't have a lot of jobs and opportunities for the citizen to work and earn money. They also lack land to grow crops and very little education. Therefore, the government must invest a lot to help provide to their population their necessities and needs. People are jobless since the opportunity to work here is very little, which leads to people not being able to afford food or water and healthcare. Talking about healthcare, there are very few professionals and certified doctors, and if there are one, most of them work in the capital, so people who are far away have a low chance of survival, or they must see an unprofessional doctor that might not be very reliable. There are several setbacks and consequences of poverty in Papua New Guinea. Since so many areas are affected by it, they lack a lot of basic necessities since 80% of the population live in rural areas and only about 40% live in areas with access to electricity and clean water. This causes a lot of sickness since they have very little access to healthcare and sanitation. Most cannot get food, so they starve to death, and not many can go see doctors since there are not many of them and are very far away from their areas. Papua New Guinea's government tried to help fund the education system but failed. They attempted to provide free school. This was even made worse after an earthquake hit in 2018, which caused multiple deaths, and they could not cover this, and the poverty rate increased by a lot. In Papua New Guinea, the government is trying to make more jobs and are trying to make them more accessible, and better ways to earn cash. Some of the ways are clearing land, giving people more space to work with, and more buildings and farms. They will also be investing more in education for people to learn more about the outside world and jobs. The healthcare industries will also be supported. Skill training will also be implemented onto small businesses and provide them better access to capitals.
Although poverty is a big problem, if we all work together as a nation and help each other out and raise multicultural awareness, we can all solve the problem of poverty together since together we are all stronger.